Motherhood has always been my style. Forget the latest fashions or hairstyles. Motherhood is always what I wanted to wear. It has just always made sense in my mind. I watched my mother enjoy her role in our home with excitement and fulfillment and success. I couldn't wait for that to be me. When my husband and I were dating, we would sit and talk about how many children we were going to have. The magic number was always 3, maybe 4. After all, 3 was a perfect number. But 4 meant that there would always be an even number, so no one would ever have to go on a ride at Disneyland or Lagoon by themselves. This was something we needed to consider. Then we had our son, and my number changed. I didn't tell my husband for fear he would have a heart attack, but my number instantly got much, much bigger. I realized I should have been the one to get married at 18, just so I would have had more time to have more children. But can I tell you something? As our children get older, and my age gets closer to 40 and further from 30, and my husband gets more and more worried about how he's going to pay for weddings for our 3 girls, I'm struggling with what motherhood looks like for me now. In the blink of an eye, I have found myself on the backside of a phase I never thought I would see. The phase where you stop having children. The phase where I'm going to have to accept sooner or later that maybe all the babies have been had and all the nursing has been done. It isn't that I don't know how to handle this phase of growing children that I'm in now. I do. I'm pretty good at communicating with an 11-year-old boy who blames me for everything. I'm usually pretty good at talking to an 8-year-old girl about the boy she thinks is cute, who happens to be in the 4th grade, or letting a preteen spread his wings and have some freedom. It isn't that I don't know how to be a mom to older children. It's that I don't know how to not have more babies. Don't get me wrong, I don't need a lesson on the birds and the bees. I know how babies are made. I just don't know who I am if I'm not having more of them. With our first, I knew there would be more. When our son turned 1 and stopped nursing, it wasn't terribly sad because I knew we'd have more kids I could nurse. When he stopped crawling and began walking, I knew there would be another child to watch transition in these stages. There would be plenty more firsts because there would be more children. But now, all of a sudden, I am at a point where there has to be a last. Why doesn't anyone ever talk about this phase? We talk about newborns and toddlers. We talk about tweens, and we can read plenty of books about raising teenagers, and even how to have good relationships with our adult children. In fact, there are even books on how to keep a strong relationship with our spouse once our day-to-day mothering duties slow down and we have an empty nest. But I have never, ever seen a book to help me deal with this phase, the phase where you have to make a decision that this is as big as your family is going to get. There is not a book to help me with this mourning. I have never seen a support group, a pamphlet, a seminar given to help deal with the stage where it hits me that pretty soon there will have to be a last. Pretty soon there won't be any more new babies for us. You know, I've tried to bring this up amongst my friends. I've asked how they knew they were done. How did you know, I ask. But they don't really have an answer. Some say they just knew. Some had complications that made it impossible to have more. Some tried for more but never had them. Some said they couldn't handle any more, and some just said they didn't want any more. But who can tell me what you do when you can have more and when you want more? You just probably shouldn't, because if you do, you're going to be 60 with a kindergartner. Either way, I've yet to hear an answer that helps me find peace with this place I've found myself now, the place where I have to be okay with never having a baby again. I'm not sure I know what motherhood looks like without having babies. Age and my husband assure me that there will come a day when there has to be a last. The last pregnancy test, the last bout with morning sickness, the last set of labor pains. The last time my husband and I will share that moment in the hospital together, where our eyes lock and I know that as long as he stays with me, I can deliver this baby. The last time we name a child, The last time we bring that baby home to meet their siblings. The last time I wake up every 2 hours to feed them. There will be a last to all of our firsts, and for me, it is just much too close. It has been a part of me for so long. I don't think I know who I am without it. When we had our first child, there was a woman in our congregation who would ask to hold him every Sunday. She would look at him and she would hold him so close. I could see her taking in his scent and admiring the size of his hands and his tiny feet. It was a little silly to me then. It isn't silly to me now. Now I understand. She was in mourning. She had had all her children, and she mourned the fact that she wouldn't have any more. I think that's where I'm at. I'm in mourning. Mourning what is on the horizon, and mourning what will inevitably be the last. Just like mourning a death or loss, it takes time. And this is going to take time for me. While I wait for the pain to subside, I've decided to laugh more with our 4-year-old. She is the funniest girl you will ever meet. I've decided I'm going to listen with more intent to our 8-year-old's playground stories, chase our 2-year-old around the house at least 50 times a day, and hug our 11-year-old more, because when boys get bigger, you seem to hug them less. And then when I crawl into bed each night, I'm going to shed a few tears. I will lay there and remember what it feels like to carry a baby in my womb that has the hiccups every single night while I try to sleep. I will remember what it's like to reach out, half asleep, and rock the bassinet that sat beside my bed for so many years. I will try to convince myself that it's all okay, that someday there will be grandchildren, and I can hold and help and love them too. I will lay in bed and cry myself to sleep, trying to come to grips with the fact that pretty soon I will have officially left this part of motherhood behind, the part that I waited for my whole life, a part I can't ever recreate or get back. I will work through the mourning process and mother better and stronger and with more love, because motherhood has always been my style. But I was thinking, while I work through all this, maybe we should have another baby.